Hello guys, this is ZXYC here, and today we're going to be introducing Arc Warden. Arc Warden is an agility carry with 625 attack range, 285 movement speed, and 0 armor. This means that he has a very low base movement speed, he's very easy to get on top of, very easy to catch up to. With 49 base damage, it's not the highest in the world, so even when you get a killa and some stat items, he ends up being okay at best in terms of his right click potential, but he does have a very good attack animation. And he has very good attack range, so it does make it somewhat fair and somewhat easy to last hit creeps. Remember that he does have 0 armor, so he's super fragile, especially against heavy right clickers. In the early game, heroes that get a lot of damage like TA or SF or even Invoker can easily outdamage him or can easily trade very well with him. His stats at level 1, his base stats are very good, but of course his stat gain, especially his agility, isn't the best. His strength and intel are good, but again his agility, which is his primary attribute, is pretty low. Arc Warden's advantages are he has an amazing high ground defense. Of course, this is due to his magnetic field ability. He's a really fast farmer in the late game due to the fact that his ultimate can be farming in the more aggressive parts of the map while you are farming in the more safe parts like your jungle or anything like that. He has a risk-free split pushing and ganking ability, which is due to his ultimate. Of course, with travels, it makes it so that you could split push really far and deep into the enemy territory without risking a hero dying. This also, of course, results in a free rat, like you can get into their base, start hitting their towers, and your risk is very minimal due to the fact that your ultimate only feeds XP and gold, and of course in the late game it's very minimal. He's extremely strong in the late game. Of course, this is due to the fact that when itemized correctly, you and your Tempest Double both also can use your items, and you end up being a really strong powerhouse in the late game and a very strong threat. The fact that you don't need to show your hero, of course, is a huge advantage in the late game as well. As soon as you hear Arc Warden, you think about his active items and the fact that they gain double. So things like Hex, you gain 2 Hexes, things like Force Staff or Pike, you gain 2 of them. So it's a huge advantage for him because his active abilities are pretty much doubled in value. And of course, his biggest advantage is against certain lineups, it's just so hard to push against an Arc Warden. Based on their lineup, of course, if they can get to him or not, if they have good tower damage, if they have ranged heroes or not. Magnetic Field can make it almost impossible to push against an Arc Warden, which results in a fairly easy game if you play safe. Arc Warden's disadvantages are he has very low armor and very low agility gain, making it so that he, throughout the whole game, was very fragile to physical heroes, anyone that can get on top of him. Of course, he also has very low movement speed. Even when he gets travels, he's not very fast compared to the other heroes, and he ends up being a very fragile hero. He requires a lot of time and farm just to get up to his peak. You could think of him kind of like a Naga, except he has stronger defense mechanism and of course stronger split pushing power compared to her illusions, which can easily be soloed in the mid and late game. He's not the best fighter. Certainly he can fight, of course, in certain situations, of course more than a Naga can. With his E and his Flux, he can end up dishing out a lot of damage, especially in the early game. He has power spikes at 6, 12, 18, etc. where his ultimate really comes into power, but he's not the best fighter, especially against the team that groups up and walks down the lane. Generally speaking, you don't want to fight teams like that, you want to stay away from them and just straight towers. He has almost no survivability or mobility, and like I said, if any hero gets on top of him, he has a lot of trouble dealing with those, so he's very easy to gank. He's not the best at harassing heroes with poor man's shield in lane. Of course, like I said, his damage isn't the highest, and of course, his E can't always be targeted, it hits the closest unit it can, so you're going to mainly be using it to farm creeps, and heroes with a poor man's shield in the early game, especially to high armor, heroes like Naga, he has a lot of trouble harassing, and they'll end up just completely free farming, and you guys will be trading farm in the mid lane. Of course, trading farm with a Naga is never what you want, because Naga is not the strongest laner, but against a hero like Arc Warden, Naga does end up having a strong lane. He's very easy to run at, he's very easy to get on top of, so you have to space really far back with this hero. You have to play very safe, because you just want to make sure that you don't die, you're not easy to get to, you want to make sure that you're being very annoying in the back and then casting your spells whenever you can. And his biggest disadvantage is his ultimate. When it is down, the hero is very low impact. You have to make sure that your team is playing around your ultimate's cooldown. So when it is up, of course, you guys are very strong, you guys can fight. But when that ultimate is down, make sure that your team gets back. It's actually even more than 50% of his power. His ultimate, I would say, is about 60, even 65% of his power. Because of the way it's played, it really gets in there and it really changes the way that Arc Warden's even played when his ultimate is up or down. So be wary of that. Like I said, if his ultimate is down, try not to fight. Even if you guys are ahead, it is a huge ability for him to have up. So in this series, we're going to be talking about Arc Warden. We're going to be talking about when to draft him, what's good against him, what's bad against him, how to defend, how to push, how to Roshan, how to play any of your objectives, how to lane in the early game, how to split push with him, how to use your ultimate, how to use all your abilities, and when or when not to level them up, because his skill build is fairly complicated. So depending on who you're against, you'll level up your spells differently. His talents are fairly simple, they're almost always going to be the same. So we're going to be focusing a lot on his microing, how to micro your illusion, how to team fight with him, how to itemize your Arc Warden, since he has a double effect from all his actives. There's a lot bigger variety of items that you can get. You can get anything from Hex to, Shiva, or anything in between. You can also get damage items. It's even okay to get passive items like NKB. You can get Butterfly for the flutter effect. There's a lot of items you can get with him. We're going to talk in depth on what items to choose and when to choose them. We're going to be talking about when to use his abilities and how to use them, and of course we're going to be talking about his early, mid, and late game, how to play it, his power spikes, when he's strong, when he's weak. We're also going to be adding an advanced video guide for Arc Warden that discusses a lot of the more complicated mechanics behind the hero and how to utilize it. As always, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment below, and in our next video we're going to be talking about when to draft Arc Warden.